All right, so this video is all about what Temecula locals know that newcomers don't. I'm going to give you some perspective on what it's like to actually live here and some really cool insights I don't think you're going to find other places on the internet. These are things that you would only know if you actually live here local in the Temecula area. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader with the Short Real Estate team here in Temecula, California and Murrieta, California at Keller Williams. And this video is all about what locals here in Temecula know that newcomers won't. So I think it's going to be some good information for you guys if you don't live here locally already, give you some good perspective on some insights to what it's like, a handful of things that you're not going to know unless you've lived here for a while. And I've helped so many clients relocate here. These are things that they didn't know before they move here. And so there's things that kind of open their eyes, and I think it's good information for you guys to have. So before I get into all the information, if you are liking real estate videos like this, do me a favor, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Obviously it helps me, it helps my channel as we're trying to continue to grow it. And then we have new videos that we put out each and every week as well. So if you want to stay on top of all that, we have market update videos, we have videos about best neighborhoods, worst neighborhoods, new home community walkthrough tours, all types of stuff that we have out there. So you definitely can stay tuned for all of that. And if you guys have any real estate questions, I'd love to hear from you. So I have people that reach out all the time. You're welcome. You can call, you can text, you can email me. Happy to answer any questions you may have, point you in the right direction. Or of course, if myself and my team, if we can help you out with your home search, we'd love to help you out with that as well. Obviously it's how we earn a living. So happy to do that, of course. So let's go ahead and we'll get into my list here. So I have 8 things to go over. Number 1 is about the weather. So it's hot here, but a lot of people don't know that it cools down quite a bit here at night. So this is something that is much different than other hot areas. So as opposed to like out in the desert, like Palm Springs, or out in like Las Vegas or something like that, where it gets hot, right? It's even hotter there, but it's 105, 110, or Arizona, right? 115 degrees. And at night it cools down to like 101, right? And it's still just miserable and nasty outside. Where as opposed to here in the Temecula area, we might have a hot day, it might get up to 100 degrees, but we're not that far, as a bird flies, they say, straight to the coast. So there's basically a mountain range that's separating Temecula from the coast. And so that breeze, that ocean breeze comes over the mountain range, and then the evening really cools down the city of Temecula. You can really easily cool down to about 70 degrees, 75, 68 degrees in the evening, even on a really hot day. So the breeze starts picking up later, probably around 4:30 or so. So by about 5 o'clock, 5:30, it's really comfortable outside. And that is something that a lot of people don't know. When you're looking at the temperatures, right, you just think it's always gonna be miserable out on a hot day. But yeah, it gets hot in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of summer, but later in the evening, it's actually pretty comfortable and pretty nice outside. All right, so number 2, the Temecula wineries are really the best venues here in town. So if you don't know, Temecula wine country is probably the most famous part about the city. There's a lot of tourism that comes in. There's now over 50 wineries here locally. So with that, there's a ton of events that they're always doing out there. There's a lot of bachelorette parties and wine tasting and weddings and stuff like that go on. But in addition to that, there's a lot of venues. So most of the wineries have some type of like a gathering space. So whether that's for brunches, for concerts, for comedy shows, for there's a lot of concerts, or even like seasonal stuff. Like there's a big pumpkin patch that's out there that does all types of events. All types of stuff that they do throughout the course of the year. And really, they're definitely the best venues that are out here because they're nice. The wineries are super pretty. They're nice and grand and have these nice big open spaces. And even myself, like I don't like wine, right? It just doesn't. I just don't like it at all. So we still, my wife and I, my family, we still go out to the wineries a decent amount of times each year just to go to all the venues. So we get invited to concerts and go with friends or do whatever. And so we still go out there, even if someone doesn't like wine, it still ends up being a really nice place to go, really nice gathering space. And people are always surprised about how nice it is and how much they end up going out there. All right, so number 3 is about traffic. So I think most people realize, we're in Southern California. I have a lot of other videos where we talk about, the traffic that's here in the area, especially at rush hour. It gets pretty jammed up, right? I don't think that's anything earth-shattering for people to know, right? However, what people don't always realize is because of the nature of this area, it's definitely more of a suburb, right? It's more of a bedroom community. So because that's not like this big, massive city, right? We're not right next to the beach, anything like that. So on the weekend, the freeway also gets pretty jammed up. So if you're gonna head out of town, especially if you're going south, you definitely want to leave on the freeway early in the morning. So you wanna be on the road by 9:30, probably 10 o'clock at the very latest, especially if you're going south to San Diego. If not, that freeway gets jammed up. It's just like rush hour, and it's gonna stay that way and probably till after 1 o'clock, 1:30. So and the reason is so many people are heading that way out of town. They're gonna go see family, they're gonna go see friends, they're gonna go to the beach, they're gonna go to the zoo or downtown San Diego or wherever they're going, right? But the freeway gets so jammed up, it can really suck. So if you are heading out of town, you wanna make sure on the weekend, you wanna make sure you hit the road early or you're gonna get caught up in that same rush hour traffic. All right, so number 4, there is a large military presence here in the area. So a lot of people don't realize this. I have lived here in the area for a very long time, so over 25 years. So to me, it's very, very normal. This is really the only place that I've ever lived, Southern California. So I don't know anything different, but this is something that comes up a lot when people are relocating from other areas, from Northern California or other states. And there's such a large military presence here compared to most parts of the country. So the reason being is there's a bunch of military bases. There's several. There's a military base that's in Camp Pendleton, that's in North County, San Diego. There's a couple other bases down further into San Diego. There's Point Loma. There's an Air Force base, March Air Force Base that's not too far from here. And then even going north, there's a couple bases that are a little bit further up as well into the LA area. So there's a ton of military bases. So because of that, and because it's so much more affordable to live here, there are a lot of military personnel that live here in the valley and make that commute to base. So because the area here is so nice, the schools are so nice and so much more affordable than, let's say, San Diego. A lot of people, they do live here, commute to base, and because of that, you'll see a lot of people walking around in, military fatigues. You'll see, Marine flags. You'll see Navy flags. You'll see Army stickers, all types of stuff like that. So it's a very common thing. To me, I think it's an awesome thing. I think it makes me feel secure, right? It makes me feel like I'm living in a good area that's going to be safe, right? But a lot of people, when they're moving from out of town, it's something they always comment is they didn't realize what a big military presence there is here locally. So, all right, number 5, earthquakes are not scary. So again, I've lived here in the valley a really, really long time. To me, I don't even feel earthquakes 99% of the time. I've probably felt like 2 in the last 5 or 6 years. So I tend to sleep through them. Most of them happen at night, or say if I'm driving, or even if I'm in the house, like I just don't really notice them. If you've lived in Southern California for any period of time, you don't really think too much about them. They just kind of happen from time to time. Usually it's just a little bit of a rumble and then you kind of move on. This is something that I hear a lot from people when they are moving from other areas and they kind of feel like it's a scary thing. I'm sure every area has its own kind of natural disaster or whatnot that has different levels of concern. But as someone's been in Southern California a really long time, earthquakes are not scary. They're not a big deal. It's just kind of part of life and it happens and then you move on. So not a big deal. All right, so number 6, there is definitely a little bit of Temecula elitism here in the valley compared to some of the surrounding cities. So to me, I don't really understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but there's definitely a little bit of a stigma. Not everybody, but a good portion of people, maybe 50% of the people that live in the city of Temecula, they feel like the city of Temecula is a fancier, nicer place to be than the other surrounding cities. So I've lived here, I've lived in Temecula, I've lived in Murrieta, I've lived in Winchester. To me, I think they're all basically the same, especially Temecula and Murrieta are literally exactly the same. But, people that live in Temecula, tend to have a little bit of maybe not ego isn't the right thing to say, but there's a little bit of an elitism to feel like they live in the nicer, more expensive city. So I don't really understand why. I think it's because home prices are more. They do have more of the city feel, so they have like the venues, they have the wineries, they have the old town area, they have the shopping, and they're paying a little bit more price tag, so maybe that kind of makes them feel good. But a lot of times, if someone lives there and you're like, oh, we're going to go to this restaurant over in Murrieta, they're like, oh, Murrieta, like, I don't really go that way. So just a little bit of an elitism thing. And that you wouldn't know unless you lived here, and kind of a weird aspect of reality here. All right, so number 7, really 98% of the city of Temecula is a really, really nice area to live in. So this is a question I get asked all the time, and people, when we're helping them with their home search, they always say, well, hey, I don't want to live in a bad area. I want to make sure it's a nice neighborhood. I don't want to live in a rundown area. And the truth is, just kind of the way the city is set up, the way it was constructed, there really is, with very, very few exceptions, there's really not a bad area. There's probably, a couple apartment complexes here and there that, are probably best to stay away from, but especially if you're buying a home, the city of Temecula is just a really, really nice place. So a lot of it is the year built, right? So a lot of these homes, the earliest homes in Temecula started being, tract homes at least, started being built in the late 80s, probably right around 1988, right around there. Most of the city was built anywhere from 95 to 2002, somewhere in that range, and then and a lot of it is still even newer than that, up to 2012, 15, 17, some even a little bit newer from there. So because of how new the city is, right? It's pretty nice. It's pretty squeaky clean. The city does a really, really good job keeping the area safe. Temecula has constantly been one of the safest cities in the country over the last decade. So anywhere from the top 10, top 20, top 100 safest cities in the country. So in general, it's a really, really safe area. It's really clean. There's no very, very little like graffiti, or there's very small, homeless population, especially compared to other parts of California. It's just such a nice area. So for most people, I recommend that they look at most of the city. However, with that being said, different people are going to have different needs and different wants as far as size and space and views and how new or old the home is, or HOA or no HOA, right? That'll help fine tune your search. But as far as like staying away from a bad area, there's really, really very few bad areas in Temecula. Most of the city is going to be really, really nice. So don't worry too much about that with your home search. You're going to end up in a nice place. All right, so the last one on my list, and it's number 8. There is a large casino here in Temecula that's super popular. So the Pechanga Casino, if you are not aware, is one of the largest casinos in California. They have done a ton of expansions over the last 20 years or so. They bring in a ton of money, a ton of tourism, and honestly, when people move here, a lot of times they have no idea about it. So Pechanga Casino is really, really nice. One is located in South Temecula, so it's located in the most expensive area, most expensive part of town. They have a really large casino. They have really nice restaurants. They have ballrooms, so for conferences, stuff like that. They have a really nice hotel. They have really nice hotel pools. They have a really nice golf course. So it's a really, really nice place. It's definitely a destination for people. People will come to play and to gamble there and do all the other entertainment stuff that's going to be there, or just stay in the hotel. And a lot of people don't realize that it's here. So Pechanga Casino, if you don't know about it, I would look into it, and it's definitely a place to know about if you're moving here to Temecula. So all right, so hopefully that's some pretty good information for you guys, give you some perspective on what it's like to actually live here, and what I think is some good inside information that you're probably not going to find most places online. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to reach out. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.